Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Suman Dua from Department of Anthropology, University of Delhi. Today we are going to discuss about module abnormal growth under paper human growth, development and nutrition. We will be learning about why a child's growth needs to be regularly monitored. This can be done with the help of growth charts and the child's doctor. Poor feeding sessions or illness can lead to slow growth, but this may not be a growth disorder. A growth disorder may be present at birth or acquired later in life. Growth is, as we know, progressive increase in the size of a person or parts of a person. Development is the acquisition of various skills to perform specific functions. Growth and development go together, but at different rates. A good state of health and nutrition of a person can be assessed by his growth and development. Measurement of growth, therefore, is a very essential to know whether growth is taking place at a normal pace or not. Whether abnormal growth or growth failure is there, it indicates symptoms of a disease. Growth occurs when there is an increase in size of bones of arms, legs, and the back. There is a growth plate at the end of long bones which is made up of cartilage cells which form the new bone. These cartilage cells are replaced by new bone. These spaces in the cartilage are filled up by bones, deposition of calcium and phosphorus which are produced by osteoblasts. Growth is said to be stopped when all the cartilaginous tissue is replaced by the bones. This usually occurs before the attainment of 16 to 18 years. The bone age or the maturation of the bone can be assessed by taking the X-ray of the hand or the knee. There are many causes of abnormal growth. Some are temporary and merely the variations of normal pattern of growth. Abnormal growth may result due to genetic factors or may be associated with other physical problems. In order to maintain general health and growth of child, the parent should regularly get the child examined and measured. There are number of conditions that may lead to decreased or increase in the growth rate or short or tall stature, which could be detected through growth monitoring. Conditions in which stature outside the normal range is often the only most significant presenting feature is the growth hormone deficiency and Turner's syndrome. Such conditions justify the screening during childhood. Short stature may result from intrauterine growth retardation or other chronic diseases. Tall stature may be due to Marfan syndrome and Klinefelter syndrome or a sign of treatable endocrine disorder. Early detection of organic causes of abnormal growth are important. At birth, all children are of the same size. Even then, every individual varies in size and shape. Growth standards, that is, range of normal height and weights for different age groups, can be used to monitor growth of children. A growth chart is used to compare a child's height and growth rate with children of the same age. A standard growth chart refers to one in which a large number of children of different ages are taken and a graph of their heights and weight is made. An upward curve is the road to health is ideal. A flat and downward curve is not desirable. WHO charts blue for boys and pink for girls to identify children with growth deviations and diseases and conditions that manifest due to abnormal growth. Evaluation of effectiveness of corrective measure and impact of a program of special interventions for improving the health of children. The ICMR undertook a nationwide cross-sectional study during 1956 to 1965 to establish Indian reference charts, irrelevant now as they were done on lower socioeconomic classes. The growth charts compiled by Agarwal et al. Were based on affluent urban children from all major zones of India, measured 1989 to 1991. The data is now 20 years old and irrelevant now. In 2010 to 2011, Khadikar et al. Have published the growth charts on affluent children 5 to 18 years and have also compared the growth of 2 to 5-year-old Indian children with the new WHO growth charts. Shows the weight for age for girls and weight for age for boys growth charts, and they also show the different percentiles for the same. The most commonly used growth charts are from the National Center for Health Statistics (NCHS) and are age and gender specific. When the height is at the 50th percentile, it means the height at which half of the children of that age are taller and half are shorter. When it is at 25th percentile, it means 75% of the children are taller at that age while 25% are shorter. Similarly, 75th percentile means that 75% will be shorter and 25% taller. As there is a lot of variation, and if children are between 3rd and 97th percentile, but if they are growing at a normal rate, they will be regarded as normal. If children are outside these ranges, that is over 97th percentile or under 3rd percentile, the reasons for such differences are searched for. A child's growth and development can be influenced by eating habits and nutrition, presence or absence of chronic illness, genetics, and endocrine functions, that is related to hormones. Nutrition and systematic diseases. There are many diseases and disorders that can cause short stature and growth failure. Malnutrition in some parts of the world leads to abnormal growth. Poor nutrition may result into poor growth. There are a number of intestinal disorders which may lead to poor absorption of food. Failure to absorb nutrients and energy from food then leads to growth failure. Children with these conditions may have complaints that involve the stomach or intestines. Treatment of these conditions often involves a special diet. Normal growth usually resumes after proper treatment is taken. Chronic diseases affecting growth are diabetes, congenital heart disorders, sickle cell disease, etc. Bone disorders. Several inherited bone diseases influence growth and maturation. In achondroplasia, a dominant inherited abnormality, the cartilage cells mature less rapidly than normal. This leads to short, long bones, and the skin of limbs tends to hang in folds. A recessive abnormality known as osteochondrodystrophy results in decreased growth of articular cartilage and consequently metaphysical development is delayed. Degenerative changes in joints, sclerosis may lead to restriction of movement. The underlying causes of most of these skeletal dysplasias are not known. Researches are being done to identify the genetic and biochemical mechanisms. Adolescence is marked by growth spurt. Girls experience growth spurt about 2 years earlier than boys. Rate of growth and changes during puberty show individual variation. Growth and puberty patterns are passed from parents to their children. If one or both parents had a late puberty, then their children may also have late puberty and experience a late growth spurt. Pubertal achievement consists of gonadal maturation, secondary sexual characters, adolescent growth spurt, body composition and proportions, and skeletal maturity. Puberty is the body's natural process of sexual maturation. Normal puberty in girls. The signs of puberty include growth of pubic and other body hair, growth spurt, breast development, onset of menstruation after puberty is well advanced, and acne. Among boys, the signs of puberty include growth of pubic hair, other body hair, and facial hair, enlargement of testicles and penis, muscle growth, growth spurt, acne, and deepening of the voice. If changes in sexual development occur before age 8 among girls and before age 10 among boys, it is referred to as precocious puberty, that is, early puberty. The symptoms of precocious puberty are similar to the signs of normal puberty, but they manifest earlier, before the age of 8 in girls and before the age of 9 in boys. Precocious puberty may result as a result of conditions like brain tumors or genetic abnormality and other disorders of central nervous system. Conditions that cause the gonads or adrenal glands to overproduce sex hormones. Delayed puberty is characterized by the lack of onset of puberty within the normal range of ages. Puberty may be delayed if the hormonal changes of puberty occur later than normal range of ages at which they should occur. Puberty, when it has not begun by age 13 in girls or by age 15 in boys, is considered late. Children who experience delayed puberty follow the normal pattern called constitutional growth delay. Several disorders of brain, pituitary, ovaries, and testicles can result in delayed puberty due to the rise in sex hormones. Chronic disorders of other organs, such as intestines and lungs, or medical treatments may cause delayed puberty. Improper nutrition due to long term illnesses can delay puberty, or strenuous physical training may cause delayed puberty in girls. Secondary hypogonadism also can cause delayed puberty. Genetic disorders in abnormal growth includes Turner syndrome. Short stature in girls may be caused by genetic condition that affects the X chromosome. Chromosomes are small thread-like bodies in the nucleus of each cell. They contain the genetic material that determines the characteristics we inherit. Two of these chromosomes determine sexual development, the X and Y chromosomes. Boys have one X and one Y chromosome. The girls have two X chromosomes. In girls with Turner syndrome, one of the X chromosomes is mishapen or missing in many or all body cells. Because of this, girls with this syndrome are short and may have undeveloped ovaries. Intelligence is normal. Turner syndrome may be present because of the presence of certain physical features, but poor growth is sometimes the only sign. A special blood test, karyotype, is done to look for damaged or missing sex chromosomes. Replacement of the missing ovarian hormones in these girls help to develop normal female sexual characteristics. Some genetic conditions may result into abnormally tall stature. A hereditary condition affecting connective tissue and associated with tall stature is known as Marfan syndrome. People with Marfan syndrome have very long extremities, eye problems, and differences in facial features. Heart abnormalities also may be present. Abraham Lincoln had Marfan syndrome as believed. Klinefelter syndrome is also one such example of tall stature. Hormones and growth disorders. Growth is controlled by hormones, that is, the chemical messengers from various glands. One of the most important growth hormone is secreted by pituitary gland. The pituitary gland is attached by a stalk to the hypothalamus, an area of the brain that controls the function of the pituitary. The pituitary gland secretes growth hormones to regulate both bone growth, thyroid stimulating hormone, which controls the production and secretion of thyroid hormones, gonad stimulating hormones for development of sex glands and secretion of sex hormones, adrenal stimulating hormone, which regulates the secretion of adrenal gland hormones. Too little growth hormone, that is hypopituitarism. Sometimes the pituitary gland does not make enough growth hormone. Child's growth rate is slowed down. The deficiency may appear at any time during infancy or childhood. When doctors have ruled out other causes of growth failure, they may recommend special tests for growth hormone deficiency. Children with growth hormone deficiency are treated with daily injections of the hormone, often for a period of years. With early diagnosis and treatment, these children usually increase their rate of growth and may catch up to achieve average or near average height as adults. Low amounts of growth hormone may result into short stature, but the person has normal body proportions, which is referred to as pituitary dwarfism. This is different from other forms of dwarfism. In them, the person with dwarfism is short and the growth of the arms, legs, torso, and head often is out of proportion. For example, the person's arms and legs may appear relatively smaller than the head or torso. Too much growth hormone, that is hyperpituitarism, occurs, and there are two conditions which arise from excessive amounts of growth hormone in the body, that is acromegaly and gigantism. The cause usually is a tumor in the pituitary. First condition is acromegaly, a condition caused by increased secretion of growth hormone after normal growth has been completed. Occurs in the adults. The condition is rare, occurring in 6 out of 100,000 people. As the adults cannot grow taller, the excess growth hormone in acromegaly causes their bones to thicken as well as other structures and organs to grow larger. This occurs usually in middle age. Gigantism occurs when excessive secretion of growth hormone takes place in children before normal growth has stopped. This results in the overgrowth of long bones. The vertical growth in height is accompanied by growth in muscle and organs. The person becomes very tall with a large jaw, large face, large skull, and very large hands and feet. Many health problems may be associated with gigantism, such as heart disease and vision problems, etc. So, let us see what we mean by intrauterine growth retardation. Some infants are small at birth as they are born earlier than usual time. Such babies are premature. Some infants are shorter and weigh less than they should at birth. In other words, they had a chance to grow in the womb but did not reach the length and weight they should have for their gestational age, length of the time in the womb. This failure to grow normally in the womb is called what is known as the intrauterine growth retardation. A problem with the placenta, the organ in the mother's womb through which the nutrients and oxygen pass to the baby, may result in such condition. During pregnancy, German measles, a viral infection, may affect the placenta, causing intrauterine growth retardation. This condition cannot be identified in some cases. Such children may remain small throughout life, whereas in other cases, the retardation may result because of so many reasons. Researches are being done to see if growth hormone is effective in increasing the growth rate of such children so that they have a normal height when they reach adulthood. So students, let us summarize what we have learned in this module. Growth may be affected by systemic disorders such as malnutrition, renal disease, growth failure secondary to rickets, acidosis, and nutritional failure, resistance to growth hormone, diabetes. Diabetes, as you know, may be caused because of excess intake of carbohydrates, or it may be due to various lifestyle disorders. Then we have the poor control with significant acidosis will result in significant growth retardation. Then there are cardiac problems. Growth failure may be due to cyanosis, hypoxia, and other unclear underlying mechanisms. Hematological disease, chronic anemia, gastrointestinal disorders, chronic liver disease, celiac disease, and then other causes of malabsorption may cause abnormal growth. These are the respiratory disease, endocrine disorders, hypothyroidism, growth hormone deficiency, and inadequacy of certain hormones like cortisol excess, which may be caused when a child is young and may develop some problem and may be admitted to hospital and may be given excessive cortisols to undermine a particular health problem. So what happens is the body has more of cortisols and may result into growth retardation as well as obesity in some children, which may not reverse. Then there can be congenital disorders also, which may lead to growth retardation. We also talked about intrauterine growth disorders or retardation, which is basically due to the reasons which happen at the time of growth in the womb, which may be due to placental disorders, or there may be some infections in the womb, or the mother may suffer from some of the viral infections. There are skeletal dysplasias also, in which skeletal retardation occurs and may lead to abnormal growth. We also talked about genetic syndromes like Turner's syndrome, etc. So what we have seen in this particular module is that growth or abnormal growth is a complex problem. There are many causes of growth disorders, and in order to detect these disorders early, it is very important for the doctors as well as the nutritionists and the anthropologists to track growth carefully in infants and children. Many of these conditions can be treated effectively, resulting in more normal adult heights for children with growth disorders. Thank you.